Hello and welcome to Holistic Creative Chat. I'm Haley Karla, and I am honored today to be here with Chris Zydel of Creative Juices Arts. Yay!
Yay.
I think I say yay at the beginning of every one of these because I'm always so excited.
Well, it's exciting. What you're doing is so
I love
exciting.
it.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here today, Chris. And we have a juicy topic to talk
Oh,
about with everybody. It's a super important topic too, and I couldn't think of a better person to really to step
mhm.
forward and address this with us, Chris. So we're going to kind of break from the usual fashion of these chats, and we're going to dive right into a specific topic. And this is around the idea of resistance in the process,
Mhm.
but resistance specifically in relationship to seeing ourselves fully,
Mhm.
tending ourselves and loving ourselves based off of what we see, and
Mhm.
that resistance towards the body connection piece and the body
Yes,
love
the
piece.
body love.
Yes.
That's the big thing we're going to talk about today.
Yeah.
Body love. Yes.
And so this the prompting for this discussion, I'm just going to be really straightforward, is
Oh, go
Chris
for it. Yeah.
Chris offered a beautiful invitation in Spectrum, and it was very much oriented in the embody piece with the creative process and body love.
Mhm.
And I have found this to be true in my personal workshops that I lead in circles as well. When any body connection, body awareness, body love type activity or invitation comes along, this is a
Mhm.
place where women in particular, because that's what we work with, what I work with,
Yes.
really strongly resist it. I mean,
Oh,
just
yeah.
so much. Just they just go right over the top. They skip
Mhm.
right past it. They don't make the time. And
Mhm.
and then when you work with them and you have the chance to talk with them, they'll tell you. They'll be like, "Oh, I didn't. It was so cool, but I didn't actually do it." You know.
Mhm.
So they don't get into the process of it, the actual doing of it. So,
Yes.
so Chris, what do you think that is all about? What do you find?
Oh, well, okay, we're diving right in, right? We're
Yeah.
not we're not beating around any bushes or anything like that today. Okay. It's shame. It's really
Yeah.
shame. I mean, there is, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I know that that's kind of intense, but that's just really the truth. We, I think as women, we just carry so much shame around our bodies and around, I mean, I wrote about this when I did the spectrum thing. It's that place where as women we are taught to value ourselves through our bodies, that's kind of the only value that we have, whether or not we're beautiful or how many children we have or that kind of thing. But we're not really allowed to value them. We're not ever beautiful enough. We're not ever thin enough. We're not ever young enough. We're not ever, whatever it is that's wrong with us, it's never enough. So, there's the shame that comes from that. And, I think that this really, and again, this is like a heavy topic, but I think that it's really important to address it. There's the oppression and the abuse that women have suffered in their bodies, the sexual abuse, um, verbal and emotional abuse, the way that women are kept as being second-class citizens. It goes on all over the world, and so we carry that in our bodies in a really big way, and it's hard to approach it. It's
Yeah.
really hard to approach it. So that's, I mean, sorry to jump into
I
like,
love that. Yeah. I mean,
mm,
let's just be honest. I mean, that really
yeah,
is it. That's the heart of it.
that's the
Yeah.
heart of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really the heart of it. Yeah, yeah.
The-
So it's painful.
It
And
is.
it's not that our bodies are intrinsically painful, or that to get in touch with our bodies in an authentic way, to really touch into the miracle and the beauty that we really are, is not painful. But there's these layers that we have to go through in order to get to that place, and those layers need healing. They need our
Mm-hmm.
attention. Um, it needs to be, we need to tell the truth, we need to be honest, that we carry that, and that we carry that and it's this oppressive thing that happens, and it's all over the world, and as women we're just kind of walking around with it and we're not even really conscious of it a lot of the time. So when
Mm-hmm.
somebody asks us, like you do with your women's circles, or like I did in Spectrum, to approach the body as sacred, then you have to go through this other portal first.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of courage. It really does.
Turning and facing the truth of what it is that we feel, all those layers of it, and peeling it
Yeah,
away. And because it's really, it's so much about, well, the creative and healing process are so much, they're really transformative processes. It's
totally.
transformation.
That's right. Yeah.
And these, what I find so striking too is these invitations are really relatively simple acts
Yes.
that
Very much.
we are asked to do, that we're inviting others to do, to offer that love or that self-attention and that
Yes.
self-awareness.
Hmm.
And yet they're the most transformative, the
They
simplest
are.
acts, because they take us into that really raw place of
Yeah.
what is potent truth for us and how
Mhm.
we feel about these things. And then,
Yeah.
so what are some thoughts you have about peeling that away, about getting past that, stepping into the portal and moving through that?
Well, like so the thing that I did on Spectrum really came out of a ritual that I kind of stumbled upon for myself,
Yeah.
which had to do with I'm old. I'm 61. I mean, and I'm still going strong. I
Yeah,
mean,
you are.
I'm dealing with a lot more difficult body issues than I ever have in my life. A lot more kinds of pain, limitations, things that I'm struggling with. And so I've been on this healing journey, especially the past couple of years, to address some of these issues and some of these experiences of pain and limitation. And it's been frustrating because it hasn't gone as quickly as I want it to be. And there's also the thing that I am aging and my body is changing. And so I created this ritual out of a certain kind of a frustration, where I was just knocking at the door, wanting things to be fixed,
Mm-hmm.
and it wasn't happening. At least, I mean, things are getting better, but it wasn't happening at the rate that I wanted it to. So then I created this anointing ritual where I just was like, okay, I'm just going to be with my body and anoint those places on my body that were causing me so much distress. The places that I was feeling bad about. And there were also things like, well, I feel like I'm carrying too much weight, or all of those other, like,
Sure.
like cellulite, or all of those other ways that my body doesn't feel beautiful to me. So I touched those and I addressed all of those. And the thing that really blew my mind is what it opened up into was that it wasn't just about me.
Mm.
This wasn't about just me and my body. This was about being a woman and how, as women, we are carrying just this tremendous amount of. It's ancient,
Yes.
this ancient pain. And so there was something really, I mean, it kind of blew my mind, And so, of course, I just started sobbing and I started crying. But then it was a cleansing thing, because I think part of the shame that we carry as women is we are very alone. We feel like we're very alone with it. Like, oh,
Yes.
this is just me. I'm the one that's messed up. I'm the one that's too fat. I'm the one whose body won't heal. um, I'm the one who has, difficulties with sexual, expression, or whatever it is. And there was something so powerful about opening it up, to feeling that connection. I mean, I feel like I want to cry now just even
I
saying it.
I'm with
With
you. I'm feeling the power just the way you're expressing it. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
like with my sisters, all of us as women, and that we are carrying this burden together, and we need to heal it together.
Yeah.
So, that's part of what needs to happen. That's why I think this conversation that you and I are engaging in today is so important. It's to remind women, to remind them that it's not them. It's not that there's something wrong with you. I mean, there's something wrong with a certain way, a system, a way that we have been treated, we have been abused, we have been put down and oppressed as women, and that's what needs to be healed.
Yeah.
That's what really needs to be healed. So I don't know if I answered your question, but
Absolutely. That's whether you did or not. It's beautiful. There's
okay.
there's so much richness to what you're saying. That piece about that this is a sorrow and that we don't have to be isolated in the carrying of it,
That's right. Exactly.
and
That's
and in that we really do begin to embody the reality of that truth when we bring it back home, when we bring it back to ourselves and create that ritual or that space or that attention that is strictly for us and for the sorrow that we feel, just like you were explaining how it just cracked you open.
It cracked me open.
And I really feel like with the women I work with that they sense that. They sense that that's what's coming, and that's where the resistance comes in.
Exactly. I think you're exactly right, because it's so big. It's this big, it's like this ocean, it's this ocean of grief. It's this ocean of pain. It's this ocean where we need to heal, and we need to heal together. Yeah. So you're off by yourself feeling like there's something wrong with you. And then once you open the door, like you said, to this bigger ocean that we are all part of, that connection. It does feel like I said, when I did the ritual for myself, it was overwhelming, but just for a few moments. And then I was able to open to the healing power of it and that connection, and then I wanted to share it with other women, and I wanted other women to be part of it with me. And I still want that. I still want that. And that's why you and I are doing this today, because we both want that.
Yes. Yeah. It's like cracks open a floodgate. And it's like, and I don't think we even fully realize. I know for me, with my work with this type of process, I never fully realized how much of it I was holding in, how much of it was so stuffed down and deep.
Yeah.
Until I opened myself to the processes of that portal and letting it flow.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and I think that's one of the reasons why it's so important to do this in community, to do this with other women, to do this in circle. Because again, it's what is it? I think Barbara Sher, she says isolation is the dream killer, but you could also say isolation, keeps us from fully healing.
Yeah.
And that if we are together, because one of the things when I do my circles, and I'm sure you see the same thing, when women start to share and they start to talk about whatever it is that's going on for them, the thing that is so healing is to hear that they're not alone, and that other people in the circle are also talking about the same thing. And that creates a power, a power of connection and holding and healing that is so much more than you can do on your own. So that's also part of it too. And that's, again, why I'm so glad we're doing this, because it's like, I want to call our sisters, together and say, okay, girls, we really need to do this. We really need to do this. If we're going to heal each other and heal the planet and all the other things that need healing, we really need to address this.
Yeah. Come and see and be seen.
Yes. Oh. Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that.
Yeah. I mean, that was, that was my one of my deepest learnings or teachings or just experience as a nurse with people was, and I worked primarily with terminally ill and end-of-life care. So there was curing was not really an option.
Yes.
And so they were facing a different part of their spirit, resiliency, and the power of being witnessed.
Yes.
The power of somebody just being present with them. And saying, it's okay to be in the pain you're in.
Yes.
And I'm not going to run away from it. And I'm not going to help you try to fix and change it and pretend it's not there.
Yes.
Let's go ahead and feel it.
Yes. And that's all we need to do. That's all we need to do. But again, like you said, that witnessing part is so important. Because part of again, like what I said earlier when you first asked me the question, I talked about the shame, and the thing about shame is that shame wants to keep us hidden. We want to be isolated. We want to be separate. So what heals the shame is to bring that pain out in a situation with another person or with a circle of people who are not going to re-shame you, who can hold you with compassion, who can see your beauty, who can hold you with love, who can allow you to feel whatever you need to feel, so that then you can get to the other side, which is your amazing power in beauty and light. I mean, because that's really what we're going for.
Yes, absolutely. The transformation again. It's that whole shifting. Yeah. Oh, I love that.
Yeah, yeah. I know. Just like,
So good. Come on, ladies, get to your circles.
get to your circles, and let's heal this body shame. Let's
Yeah.
heal this body shame. It really needs to happen. Yeah,
And I
and it
feel,
can happen.
yeah, absolutely. And I wanted to circle back a little bit too and touch back on something that you brought up and implied a bit as well, because I think this is a potent point for people too. Um, is that the shame in that we carry? Like you said it's for all women.
Yeah.
And the piece that really is fascinating to me too is that it's kind of it's a lineage thing as well. It's not just all
Yes.
living women. This is like
Yes.
through time. This is
Yes.
generational. And
Yes.
I think sometimes, I've certainly experienced it at times in my life when I wasn't really in alignment. I thought I was a little bit crazy for thinking that way. I thought I'm really blowing this pain out of the water. What am I doing? I'm making this up. I should feel better. Blah blah blah. All that. But I knew I was feeling something that felt like more than just my own. That really was connected to that thread of women and that pain that they're
Oh,
working with.
absolutely. Absolutely. I think I'm really
Yeah.
glad addressing that, because that is so true. And that was one of the things that came up in the ritual that I did.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't just grieving for me, I was grieving for my mother, and I was
Yeah.
grieving for my grandmother, and grieving for my sisters. And it was, like you said, it just goes back and back and back and back and back. And so it's a big job.
Yeah. It
It's
feels
really a big
overwhelming.
job.
Yeah.
It really, and that's why we need each other.
Yeah.
And we need the circles that can help to hold us, to help to birth us through that portal and through that birth canal of the ancient grief, and the ancient pain, so we can release it. And then we
Mm-hmm.
can step into our full power. And it's really hard to step into your full power when you are carrying that much shame. But like you said, it's not just yours. So
Yeah.
that's the part that is so, and it is the part that's scary. I think, like you said, when people start to feel it, they're like, oh my God, what is all this? I mean, it's so intense.
Yeah.
But it's the connection with all women now, and then like you said, the connection with the whole lineage and how far
Mm-hmm.
back that goes.
And then
So
it brings us to the place of there's kind of a beautiful irony or a beautiful paradox with it, in that like it is the weight of all of us and this great connection we carry, yet it is also my own that I need to be working with.
exactly,
And
both
that
things are true.
yeah, and like we come to circle and we have so much healing there, yet I
Mm-hmm.
also still have to be willing to step into my solitary self-awareness and practice and come to
Exactly right.
circle. It's like they have to feed each other.
Yes, that's
And
right. That's absolutely right. Yeah. Yeah, that's a
yeah,
beautiful way to put it. Yeah, right. Because yeah, exactly. You have to do your own work.
yeah,
And it's both. It's the both and. We're a grain of sand on the beach. We're part of the beach, but then we also have our own grain that we have to attend
yeah,
to.
yeah. It's so
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah. And that we each have a body. We each have, this flesh and this
Mm-hmm.
skin, and, these lips and this face and these eyes and these breasts and the belly and all of it. And that we get to love that. We get to love this particular form. We get to love her
Yeah,
in her individuality, kind of like what you were saying. So,
absolutely. And how does it feel
yeah,
to let that pain be a reality, yet to also embrace the love for this body
exactly.
that
Right.
that carries
Right.
us through this miracle?
Yeah,
Mm,
exactly.
that's the
Exactly.
power, I think. Yeah.
And that is definitely the power, right?
Mm,
Yeah. Oh, sweetie, it's so beautiful. Yeah, because
thank you.
I mean that's really what we're trying to open ourselves to, is the love, because that
Yes.
is what's there, and it's just that on the way there, the pain gets. That's where people resist. They resist the pain. Although sometimes they resist the love too, because that can also be really overwhelming when you open up to. I mean, I've seen that happen in circle, where women will come and they're just blown away by what can happen by being in a circle of women who are there and present to themselves and in their own power and present to you and inviting you to step into the beauty that you are. And that is also terrifying.
Absolutely.
you know?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
owning that sovereignty with it. And oh, that
Yeah.
is terrifying. And there's great
Yeah.
resistance there. Both are outside of our comfort zones. It's like
Exactly.
that comfort bubble. Pushing on the edges.
Bubble. I know. All right. Comfort bubble. Right. That's right. Yeah.
Oh, Chris, this is so good. So I have two questions that I generally ask the people that join, and I'm going to go ahead and present those to you as we wrap up here. This has been such a beautiful discussion. Oh, I'm so inspired myself. So for our purposes, we are creativity practitioners is kind of how I think of us, holistic creative practitioners. And yes. So if you could describe your current creative process right now in a few words or sentences, how is that looking for you? Is there anything in particular that you're working with consciously?
So my personal
practice. Yeah.
I feel like I'm on fire.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really kind of, it's pretty fascinating. So, so one of the things that's happening is that my husband, who has been working in the corporate world, we've been together for 19 years, and he's been in the corporate world for most of that time. He just quit his job like 2 weeks ago.
Woo-hoo.
Yeah, I know. It's really a big deal. And so we are working on my kind of taking my business to the next level. And what that means for me is it's about getting my teachings out, to a bigger audience. So, I'm working on creating an online class. I'm writing some books, just kind of, a lot of it has to do with that kind of creation. And creating programs, and it's just like, I'm just like, oh my God. The other day we were sitting, we were in bed, and we were like, we have taken on a really big job. We're like, okay, just one step at a time, just one step at a time. Right. But it's so exciting. It's so exciting because I really feel like, the work that I'm doing, which has as much to do with the intuition as it does with creativity. It's intuition, it's creativity, it's spirituality. It's really learning how to touch into all of those capacities that we have, and to trust them, and to live our life with those leading the way. Because we have learned so much about leading with our heads, and we have to be logical and rational and linear and all that kind of crap. So I'm just really excited about taking the teachings, the things that I've been doing in my groups and circles, which I'll still continue to do, but bringing them out into the larger world in this way.
I love that. So like sharing, like expanding the sharing is such a huge part of your process right now. That's so exciting.
Yeah. It really is. Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, I know. It's like, okay, this is all right.
Yeah. So my next question is, how do you define healing today?
How do I define healing today?
Yeah.
Well, I really liked what you were saying about the cure thing. That was like one of my favorite authors is you probably know Stephen Levine, his work, and that was actually the first time that I came across that concept, the one that you had just talked about, which is the difference between cure and healing, and that healing has to do with your soul, and it's not necessarily with your body. But then, I think of healing. I think of healing as it's one of those words that it's related to wholeness. It's related to holy. It's related to sacredness. So healing for me it's really about claiming the wholeness of who we are. It's all this stuff that we've been talking about, like clearing the things out of the way that are not us. I mean, we carry that grief and that pain and that oppression that we were talking about earlier, but that's not who we are. We are not grief and pain and oppression. We are radiant, and we are gorgeous, and we are brilliant, and we are, all magicians, and we are all creatrixes, where we are here to create our lives. So I really think of the healing process as continuing to just let fall away the things that we are not, so that we can become what we are, and to become truly who we are. So that's how I'm thinking about it right this minute.
Beautiful. Thank you, Chris, for being here with us.
Oh, sweetie, this was so great. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me, darling. And thanks for asking me to talk about this. This was really... It's perfect too, because we're right at the end of the the Grand Cross, that whole astrological thing.
Yes.
It's like breaking through all the old paradigms, and this is like
Yes.
we're right on schedule. This is perfect.
Beautiful. Thank you all for joining us. All right.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.